Let's move on to February 11th, 2025. Mrs. Arakawa had an email conversation with her massage therapist at about 11:21 a.m.
A sprawling mansion on a sunlit hill in Santa Fe looks like the perfect image of tranquility. Bright adobe walls, endless desert vistas, and the famous name Gene Hackman on the mailbox. Most of us knew Hackman as one of Hollywood's greatest actors, a man who vanished from the spotlight years ago to live out his quiet days with his wife, Betsy Arakawa. But on a cold morning in February 2025, authorities stumbled upon an unimaginable scene.
We know from our investigation that on February 9th, 2025, she picked up Xena from Gruta Veterinary Hospital. There was a procedure that was done with the dog, which may explain why the dog was in a crate at the residence.
Both Hackman and Betsy were found lifeless, and the silence surrounding them was deafening. Even more unsettling, investigators discovered an unexpected secret beneath those creaking wooden floors. This is the story of a legendary star who sought refuge away from Hollywood's glare, a man who may have harbored deeper mysteries than anyone realized. And the question now gripping everyone is, what actually lies beneath those floorboards? And why did the FBI get involved? For decades, Gene Hackman dazzled audiences with his talent, from gritty cop dramas to unforgettable western. Yet, once he retired in 2004, he vanished from the public eye.
Liz, what are some of the other outstanding questions that investigators are exploring?
Yeah, well, investigators say that they have most of the major answers, but they are still considering this an open investigation.
By choice. He and Betsy Arakawa relocated to Santa Fe, a place of breathtaking sunsets and quiet charm. Locals occasionally caught glimpses of them shopping for groceries or enjoying a simple stroll. Tourists might have spotted an older man who resembled Hackman, only to realize it truly was him, living a life as ordinary as theirs. Friends said the couple's days were filled with painting, reading, and soaking up the desert's vastness. The house that overlooked the rolling hills of northern New Mexico was a refuge, one the actor painstakingly redesigned, knocking down walls and raising ceilings to create a sanctuary of light and space. Betsy described it once to a close friend as a haven of pure serenity.
The medical investigator on the case now saying an autopsy of Hackman's 65-year-old wife shows she died of hantavirus, a disease linked to rodents and found in rural areas of the Southwest, including New Mexico.
But behind closed doors, rumors circulated that Hackman's past might not have been so serene. He rarely spoke of his Hollywood days in public, and even more rarely mentioned the struggles that came with fame. Had the desert winds carried whispers of old secrets he wanted to keep buried? No one could say for sure. What was clear is that, despite his warm smile, Hackman valued privacy above all else. And that privacy only deepened the mystery when, suddenly, no one heard from the couple for days. When the silence became impossible to ignore, a routine check on their home revealed a sight that would unsettle even the most seasoned investigator. But little did anyone know this was just the beginning of something far more alarming. When local authorities finally entered Hackman's mansion,
I can tell you that he was in an advanced state of Alzheimer's, and it's quite possible that he was not aware that she was deceased.
They found him lying near the foyer, unresponsive, with no obvious sign of trauma. A few steps away, Betsy was discovered in an equally perplexing state. One of their 3 dogs had also passed, while the other 2 were found wandering the empty rooms in distress. It was a scene that defied easy explanation. There was no smashed window, no sign of forced entry, and nothing indicating violence. The initial guess was a tragic twist of fate.
After being alone for several days after his wife and caregiver, Betsy Arakawa, died first of an unrelated rare virus in their Santa Fe home.
Perhaps a sudden heart attack for Hackman, who had a long-documented history of heart disease. But how then did Betsy Arakawa pass? Carbon monoxide poisoning was quickly ruled out, as were other common environmental hazards. What's more, if Hackman truly collapsed from a cardiac event, wouldn't Betsy have called 911? The phone records showed no outgoing emergency call. The autopsy readings confirmed Hackman's pacemaker had stopped on February 17th. Yet Betsy's cause of death was murky. Some speculated broken heart syndrome, a rare condition triggered by extreme emotional shock. Others believed something darker might be at play. The local sheriff's office did a preliminary investigation.
Do you believe, given his Alzheimer's status, that Mr. Hackman was able to live on his own and survive for those 7 days?
I'm not aware of what his normal daily functioning capability was. He was in a very poor state of health. He had significant heart disease.
And found no immediate evidence of foul play. It was shaping up to be one of those bizarre, tragic cases, something that would elicit sympathy, then fade from the headline. That was until the FBI arrived and requested to remove the floorboards. In the blink of an eye, What seemed like a private tragedy turned into a full-fledged federal investigation. Suddenly, the peaceful Santa Fe home was at the center of a looming storm, and no one knew what secrets would be revealed next.
This morning, heartbreaking details emerging about the final week of Gene Hackman's life. Authorities revealing the legendary 95-year-old actor died of heart disease, complicated by advanced Alzheimer's.
It's not every day a quiet couple's death sparks a federal probe. People in Santa Fe wondered if the government had stumbled across something enormous. Was it espionage, hidden documents, or evidence of a crime that stretched back to Hackman's Hollywood heyday? The local sheriff, Daniel Morales, was swarmed with questions he couldn't or wouldn't answer. Shortly after the area was cordoned off, authorities brought in heat mapping devices. These specialized tools, designed to detect changes in temperature and density, allegedly pinpointed several anomalies beneath the mansion's wooden floors. Within days, federal agents descended upon the house, prying up the boards while the media hovered outside the property gate. The tension and intrigue in the air were palpable. Speculation ran wild. Some believed Hackman, known for his meticulous nature, had built hidden compartments for valuables or private letters.
Caregivers, they got it figured out, they got it covered, they're good. I don't subscribe to that. I think that we need to be showing up for them so that they can continue to show up for their person.
Maybe even diaries detailing Hollywood secrets. Others muttered theories of a decades-old scandal locked in a secret safe. Why else would the FBI care so much? But the bigger question remained. Did whatever lay under those floors have anything to do with the couple's deaths? Or was this simply a shocking coincidence that revealed a hidden side to Hackman's quiet retirement? As onlookers clamored for answers, the investigation only grew more mysterious, plunging everyone deeper into the legend of what Gene Hackman might have concealed. Gene Hackman was a man of many contradictions. One moment, he was the famed star of the French Connection, fiercely dedicated to his craft.
The virus can cause respiratory failure in some cases.
A person can die very quickly, within 24 to 48 hours, roughly speaking, without medical treatment.
The next, he was an intensely private soul who preferred the subdued desert life to the red carpet. Over the years, scattered rumors suggested Hackman owned more than one property with unusual architectural features, especially in Santa Fe, where he seemed to relish creative renovation. An extra corridor here, a hidden closet there, custom expansions that only made sense to him. Even his close friends admitted that Hackman approached house design like a film set. Every corner had a story, every beam had a purpose. He insisted on unique finishes and handcrafted details, from the stamped tin ceilings to the layered, distressed walls that appeared centuries old. So, as the world learned about the suspicious floorboards, theories about secret spaces flourished. Could the beloved actor have hidden vintage film reels, old financial records, or personal diaries chronicling the darkest corners of Hollywood? Some wondered if this involved other big Hollywood names. Were these floorboards possibly concealing memories that powerful figures wanted forgotten? Yet, to the few who visited the estate while Hackman was alive, nothing looked out of the ordinary, just a warm, inviting home. Still, those who knew the man best claimed he took joy in illusion.
It is so important that we show up for them so that they can continue to show up for their person. I think that there's this common misconception that,
on set, he could morph seamlessly into any character. In life, perhaps he orchestrated illusions of normalcy while tucking away the things he wanted nobody else to see. But illusions can only last so long, and soon, investigators began examining the deeper layers of Hackman's life story, searching for any clue that might tie back to this peculiar case. Long before Santa Fe and secret renovations, Hackman stood in the glaring spotlight of Hollywood. In the 1970s, he shot to stardom with roles that showcased his raw talent and grit. Fame and accolades followed swiftly, yet this success didn't come without personal costs. Hackman's first marriage to Faye Maltez crumbled under the pressures of his ever-rising career. They had children, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie, who faced the challenges of a father often away on set and consumed by the demands of stardom. Hackman rarely spoke of his private life, but when he did, he described a lifelong struggle balancing film commitments with family responsibility. Despite being labeled a normal man by fans who saw him as relatable, he often admitted in rare interviews that his personal world was far from idyllic. During these hectic years, he formed countless industry connections, starred in blockbuster hits, and occasionally found himself embroiled in controversies, some public, many kept under wraps. Hollywood can be a cutthroat place, with tangled finances, feuds, and secrets that simmer below the polished veneer of award shows and talk show smile. Upon his divorce, Hackman found a different kind of peace with Betsy Arakawa, a classical pianist who brought out his gentler side. He eventually left the mania of Los Angeles, retreating first to quieter corners, and then settling on the outskirts of Santa Fe. There, he painted, wrote novels, and appeared to let go of Hollywood's chaos. But perhaps the biggest lingering question is whether someone from those earlier years still cast a shadow over him. Did he carry secrets from that cutthroat world that might explain the FBI's current interest in his final home? Just when people thought they'd pieced together Hackman's past, a new revelation would appear, pushing investigators and the public to dig even deeper. As he aged, Hackman battled persistent health issues. A major heart attack in 1990 forced him to rethink his lifestyle, and though he returned to acting for a while, he eventually hung up his Hollywood hat for good in 2004. Minor mobility problems and chronic heart disease followed him into retirement, raising concerns among friends that his final chapter might be marked by fragility. Betsy stood by him through it all. They shared a daily routine that was slow but filled with gentle joy. Morning walks among the juniper shrubs, afternoons lost in painting or listening to classical music, and evenings watching sunsets bathe the desert in gold. To any outsider, it was the perfect picture of two soulmates living out their days in blissful solitude. Yet, with Hackman's pacemaker failing on February 17th and Betsy succumbing at nearly the same time, people wondered if there was a pact, some silent agreement that, if one fell, they wouldn't seek outside help. Was it a tragic accident, or something more surreal? When authorities discovered no phone calls, no messages, and no cries for help, even the simplest explanations started to sound suspect. Adding to the swirl of theories was the question: why did the FBI see a need to unearth the floors, especially if they believed Hackman's death stemmed from natural causes? The deeper investigators dug into the estate's hidden corners, the more the lines between tragedy and mystery began to blur. The fateful day the FBI tore up the house's floors set off an avalanche of speculation. Armed with advanced forensic tools, they carefully measured, scanned, and then broke through sections of old wood. Neighbors watched from a distance, whispering about potential secret safes or locked boxes. Inside, a swirl of hush-hush tension filled every room. Officials, local and federal, passed in and out without a word to reporters. Sealed evidence bags went straight from the house into unmarked vehicles. Whatever they found, it was enough to keep the investigation going for weeks. Meanwhile, the floors themselves were removed in segments, labeled and tested off-site. Observers noted everything was done with an air of extraordinary caution. In the absence of official statements, the internet spun out of control. Some claimed hidden records tied to old Hollywood dealings had surfaced. Others speculated there might have been an unresolved legal dispute, or even documents linking Hackman to high-profile. More imaginative rumors envisioned dusty relics, like stolen art or gold bars, secretly stashed away during Hackman's decades of success. Few believed in a mundane explanation anymore. Still, no matter how wild the rumors got, the central tragedy remained: 2 lives lost, a grieving extended family, and an entertainment industry mourning one of its legends. As time dragged on and no conclusive answers emerged, many began to question the entire investigation. Was the FBI chasing ghosts? Or had they discovered something so sensational they were working overtime to keep it quiet? One thing was certain: the world needed clarity, yet the deeper the authorities dug, the more entangled the truth became. Weeks stretched into months without a definitive word from the FBI. Gene Hackman's children, stunned by the double tragedy, maintained absolute silence. Fans grew anxious for closure, wanting to honor the actor's memory without the weight of swirling conspiracy. All the while, the mansion stood empty, its floors ripped apart, and its secrets presumably extracted. Eventually, some officials hinted at an ongoing case, but refused to confirm specifics. No charges were filed and no arrests were made. All that was said publicly was that the cause of Hackman's death seemed consistent with heart failure, yet they'd discovered additional evidence at the property, requiring federal attention. Thus far, not a single reporter had learned precisely what that was. Those who admired Hackman's decades of cinematic genius found themselves torn between grief and curiosity. Had the man who played so many no-nonsense roles lived a life far more complicated than anyone guessed? Or was it possible the investigation merely uncovered some private personal records he'd never intended to see daylight? One rumor that began to gain traction claimed the floors concealed journals containing contact details for people in high places: directors, producers, actors, and more. Another theory suggested a hidden storeroom containing rare antiques, possibly acquired in questionable ways. With so many whispers and so few facts, the tension around Hackman's legacy only intensified. To this day, the truth remains elusive. Was it all a labyrinth of speculation? Or is there a genuine bombshell waiting to be disclosed? As time marches forward, we're left pondering whether these revelations about Hackman's final years will ever see the light. Maybe the real story will trickle out slowly, or maybe those floors only hid a cryptic piece of a puzzle we'll never fully solve. Gene Hackman devoted his life to captivating us on screen, then retreated to the stillness of New Mexico's desert. By all appearances, he found harmony with Betsy Arakawa, far from Hollywood's frantic energy. Yet their end was as enigmatic as any film twist. 2 lives extinguished in silence, an FBI team combing through hidden corners, and a swirl of unanswered questions about what truly transpired within those adobe walls. Had Hackman been guarding secrets from his Hollywood era, carefully sealed away beneath his own feet? Or was this entire affair the unfortunate intersection of sudden tragedy and unfounded conjecture? For now, viewers and fans worldwide can only speculate. Still, one fact remains. The final chapter of Gene Hackman's story may never be fully written. With each passing day, more rumors emerge, and official statements stay maddeningly scarce. Perhaps the biggest revelation is that even legends, and the homes they cherish, can harbor the most unexpected of secrets. What do you believe happened in that Santa Fe estate? Do you think the FBI found something that changes everything we knew about Gene Hackman? Let us know your theories, and keep watching for more mind-bending Hollywood mystery. Because in a world where truth is often stranger than fiction, sometimes what lies beneath the surface can truly redefine a legacy.